All right.
We are
Okay.
live.
We are live and we're going. So listen, this is going to be a really interesting podcast because there's four of us on this one, and this is the first time that we've done an episode where there's been four of us doing this. So two guests. Sorry, Deval and I. We're always doing this. So we've got Emmanuel, we've got Abi. Abi, it's been such a long time since you've been on the
Star
show.
Wars,
Can you remember?
Was it Star Wars one
I
time?
can't remember. I was struggling yeah, it feels like a while ago.
So how you been, man? What's been going on?
Yeah, I've been good. Just highly anticipating some of the films that are coming out this month. Like I think we've all been waiting for quite a while. So yeah, now that wait's over, it's like a big relief. So I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. So, Emmanuel, obviously you're no guest to the show. It's just like, you're there with us. What's been going on, man? How are you?
He was cussing me all the time. He was saying, when am I coming back?
Yeah, I've just been busy. Like nothing much happening. Yeah.
All right, you've been catching up with all like TV shows and movies and stuff.
Yeah, Hawkeye. I've been watching that. And I'm looking for the Boba Fett one though. Looking forward to the Book of Boba.
Yeah,
real soon.
Yeah,
that's real soon. That's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But listen, we'll get into Hawkeye, and just to kind of let everyone know, you can watch this. You can actually watch this episode on YouTube. We'll be uploading this up there. So if you're checking out trailers and things like that, why not check out this episode as well? Remember, keep in touch with us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can catch us over there at the Flixters. This is episode 169. We're going to be getting deep into Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie. We've been waiting ages for this. The hype has been unreal. I know Deval's seen it about 3 or 4 times. I've seen it twice. Abi, I mean, how many times did you get it in there? Did you manage to watch it 1 or 2?
I tried once. I tried twice, but I couldn't manage the second time in time.
Okay. Okay. And Emmanuel,
once.
You've seen it once. Yeah, once is great. Yeah. So listen, so we're going to be speaking about that, and just to let you know, there's going to be some spoilers. We are going to be speaking about stuff that goes on in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, please just hold up. Don't listen to this episode or don't watch this episode. Watch the movie, come back, and we'll be able to unpack it for you all. So listen, without further ado, let's get into the show. Deval, what are we starting off with? Are we doing anything with the prizes?
Yep. So I'm going to quickly do some shout outs, talk about the prize. So first shout out goes to Charlie Jar UK, Zakharov, and Cloudwatcher Uno. Last week we spoke about La Casa de Papel or Money Heist on Netflix, and we asked you what would be your Money Heist name. Mine was Kathmandu. Amar's was
Addis Ababa. Yes.
Addis Ababa. Zakharov is Nova Scotia. Cloudwatcher Uno is what was it again?
Vancouver, was it?
Vancouver? Yes, Vancouver in Canada. So big shout outs. Do let us know what yours is. The most unique name wins the prize. What is that prize? That prize is Disney Plus membership up until the 30th of April. So you can watch Hawkeye, you can watch Boba Fett, you can watch all the Marvel movies again and again and again. And that'll be yours until the 30th of December. And another shout out goes out to Ciel Noir 3. Go and check out her page. She's got some really inspiring stuff. And Adele Turner, who was talking about Nigerian jollof rice being the best jollof rice. I told her no.
No, she's right. She's right. She's 100% right.
No.
That's all.
That fight will continue. But let's carry on the show. So those are the shout outs and the prize. So get on it.
Brilliant. Get onto that prize, seriously. And there's going to be loads of big shows coming out on Disney Plus. So if you want to watch those, you know what you need to do. All right, let's get into movie news. We're going to kind of zip through this. And Deval, we've kind of mentioned Lethal Weapon. We've kind of said, there was rumors about there being like a new Lethal Weapon movie being made. Sadly, Richard Donner, he passed away earlier on this year. We spoke about that on the show as well. And obviously he was the director of all those movies. So what's going on? Are we going to see a Lethal Weapon 5? And if so, who's going to be directing it?
First, I'm going to ask the guys, I guess, do you want to see a Lethal Weapon 5? Like, do you want to see more or have you had enough?
Had enough.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
honestly.
it's
You
just
know-
like exhausted. you
How
know?
lethal can a weapon be if you've got to make 5 films out of it? I don't think it's very
Trust me.
lethal at all. But yeah, Mel Gibson is set to come back and direct this one and also be involved in it. I mean, we've seen Hollywood just regurgitate all kinds of
Yeah.
movies again and again and again and again. If they can't, regurgitate, they'll go and copy movies from Korea or French movies or whatever. So, do you know what? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this one. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to come out. I could be wrong, and it could be great, but I doubt it. So yeah, that's the news. Mel Gibson's going to come back and do Lethal Weapon 5.
Wow. Just connected
That's
to
a
that,
long
I want
time,
to kind
though.
of. It is a long time. I know.
98
Connected.
was the last one, so
Oh shit, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So connected to that, I want to ask you guys: Goonies. What do you reckon? Classic or just so 80s movie?
Oh, definitely a classic.
Oh
Goonies.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
100%.
Yeah. So listen, the news here is, and that's obviously connected to Richard Donner. He was the director of the Goonies movie. So the movie news here is that Disney Plus, they're working out a deal. There's going to be a TV show based on the Goonies, and that's going to be hitting Disney Plus sometime in the near future. So if you can cast your memory back to, I think it was like 1984, was it? You had Chunk, you had Mikey, you had
Data.
Thanos.
like all those guys. It was a classic movie, Chunk, like, hey, you guys, all that, going off on this adventure. They're going to be kind of like updating it for obviously, modern times. And apparently Richard Donner's company, they've kind of given the go ahead, and we're going to be seeing that. So yeah, man, Devout, exactly what you said. Remaking, rebooting, bringing back old ideas. I mean, I think that's what goes on now, right?
Do they just not trust the new generation or something?
Yeah.
There's not enough good ideas going out there.
No.
But is it going to be a case of like the children of those original characters, or is it like a remake, like a?
Yeah, I think so. I think they go off. It's kind of like new story based off of. I bet you what'll happen is they'll bring in some of those old guys. I bet you Sean Astin is probably going to turn up in there somewhere. Like there'll be a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll kind of tie it all in. I guarantee you they'll tie it all in with the original movie. But the fact that I think what they're looking at is like rebooting it, taking it in a new direction, new adventure, set in the same town though. I think from what I read. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. And obviously, any news on that, folks, we will definitely keep you posted on that one. Now let's move on to Avatar. Deval, Jesus, man, this thing with Avatar, man. This has been in the making since what, the last 6-7 years, hasn't it?
They've been, he's making 4 movies out of this. They've given James Cameron the budget, the go ahead, the time. He's making 4 movies that are going to be released. I think there's one in 2023, 2024, then 2020, I think 5 and 6 or something like that. But anyway, the second Avatar movie has finished. The principal photography, the first cut of the film is there and ready. Obviously, it's not going to be released yet. The special effects still need to be done. It's not coming out till next year, December. So just think about that. They've finished the film already. It's going to take them months and months to do the special effects. You've seen what James Cameron is about. He doesn't mess around with his movies. Yeah. He's a blockbuster. He does, big movies. Avatar broke records and stuff. So this one's either going to be like the next best thing since sliced bread, or it's going to be bullshit. So same old. But 4 films. Who gets 4 films green lit before the first film? Well, I guess the first film was done 2009. But who gets that? No one gets that. You don't get 4 films.
I think the only one that can come close is Christopher Nolan, right? I think he's one of the only few directors can get that kind of level. But yeah, so
absolutely.
You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the Avatar movies, they're currently on Disney Plus, right? Can you catch them on Disney? Is it?
I believe you can because they're Fox. Yeah, so they were Fox, weren't they? Yeah. Disney Plus have got them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the Avatar movies, go check those out. But just on that, there was this competition between Avengers Endgame and Avatar. So who won in the end? Because I know that they re-released Avengers and then they re-released Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar got the last nod because it was
Right.
re-released and just made a little bit more money. So I don't know.
All right, there you go. I'm pretty sure there's going to be another big battle going on there for the biggest movie. So we'll see what happens. Right, Jenkins and Johnson, DeVal, Game of Thrones, Star Wars. Connect that all together for us. Let us know what's going on over there because this sounds interesting.
I don't know if you guys have heard Abi and Emmanuel, but Star Wars has been just growing and growing since George Lucas signed over to Disney. So many different properties are being made. The Game of Thrones showrunners was it what they called again? Weiss and
Benioff
and Weiss. That's it, something like that. Yeah. Patty Jenkins was going to do a Squadrons movie, and also Ryan Johnson, who we saw in Knives Out, and also was it Star Wars, the second one?
Yeah.
The last Jedi, I think it's called. Yeah, he had a whole trilogy planned out. This has all been scrapped. All of it's gone, all gone because of creative differences.
Oh
Oh,
man!
wow.
And we heard that phrase. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Solo. Remember that one? The first director or directors were the Lego movie directors, and they got shelved because of creative differences. And then what's his name from Happy Days came along and finished it.
Ron Howard.
Yeah. So I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Richie
Are you happy to
Cunningham.
hear it's being shelved, or are you sad? What are you guys saying?
Personally, I'm kind of relieved about the Rian Johnson one. I think a lot of people it split people, right? And I think that one for me, I wasn't as keen or happy about what he did in the second film, and I wasn't looking forward to seeing what he was going to do next. But yeah, so I think we've all been saved with that one.
Yeah. So Abby, with that one, with the ending of that second one, his take on it was that anyone could have basically the force, right?
Yeah.
And if you go back to the movies, it's just like kind of specific people or whatever. So yeah, I know there was a load of kind of people pissed off about that. I get it. So I mean, are we getting any more Star Wars movies, DeVal?
Yeah, of course. Star Wars prints money.
It's a franchise.
Disney, as well as Marvel. So they will bring out more. It just depends who will do it. I'm definitely with Abby on this one. I didn't want Ryan Johnson, and even more so Patty Jenkins. After the last Wonder Woman, that was messed up.
Yeah,
no one's getting any control over this shit.
Yeah.
Let what's his name? Let Jon Favreau and what's his name again? Who's the other guy's name? The one that was involved in all the Clone Wars and Mandalorian. Forgot his name, but the showrunner basically. That's it.
Okay.
David Filoni, something Filoni.
Yeah.
Let them two.
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. Let them two control. Let them two be the Kevin Feige of Star Wars, and let them just control it. You know?
But it's funny you mentioned those names because at the moment they're doing a lot of TV show stuff. The TV shows are pulling in all the success at the moment, so maybe the focus is going to kind of steer towards that. The movies haven't done so well.
Yeah, and on the whole Star Wars thing, remember we've got Rosario Dawson is going to be showing up again.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new show with that. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll kind of learn more when we see Boba Fett. So keep it posted, folks. Remember, keep it locked with the Flixters. We've got more movie news, and we've kind of kept it a bit brief this episode because there's other stuff that we want to speak about, and one of those things is Hawkeye, and Emmanuel was speaking about, Hawkeye. He's been watching it. We've all been watching it. So episode 5, that dropped on Wednesday. If you haven't been keeping up on this is the latest kind of MCU Disney show, and it's expanding the universe even more. So Hawkeye, obviously this kind of peripheral character in the movies, and his role, I just kind of think back to Thor. Remember the kind of tiny role that he had in Thor, Jeremy Renner? Do you remember when he turns up in that one and and then slowly his his role got expanded. So now he's got his own show and he's running around New York with Kate Bishop, and we've seen kind of hints of what they're working on. And this latest episode, we're seeing more of Yelena, Black Widow's sister. So, guys, what did you make of this episode? What was going on in it?
I'm glad that they still kept the humor with Elena, though. She's she is quite funny.
Yeah, she's dry sense of humor. She's just that whole scene with her and Kate Bishop in the beginning of the episode, they're eating something or whatever. And,
Yeah.
there's tension, but they kind of try and make it a bit light as well. So all that's going on. But I mean, so over the last couple of episodes, we've kind of hinted at Kingpin. That was kind of like a big thing. And,
Uncle, isn't it? They kept referring to him as Uncle.
Yeah.
That's creepy, isn't it? Right? It's just Uncle. There's just like some character in the background who's like, pulling the strings. And so where do you think this is all leading then up to? What do you think is going to happen in the final episode?
I do think, and I've heard whispers of this, but I do think that MCU are kind of sowing the seeds of a Young Avengers type situation. Right. So we've seen quite a lot of young characters come to the forefront and show themselves as being very capable. So obviously Spider-Man will probably be the Tony Stark of the group. You've got Shuri, you've got Kate Bishop. We're going to see America Chavez in Doctor Strange 2. Who else we got? We saw a glimpse, I guess, in Winter Soldier and Falcon of what's his name? The old school Captain America's grandson. I can't remember his name. But he's young and he's also in the comics. He's quite, he's doing stuff as well. And probably a few others that I can't remember right now. But there's quite a few young ones coming through that I think in the future they may get a little bring in, get a little show or something like that. But I do think people like Hawkeye, I don't know, he's kind of he's becoming a bit obsolete. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that, but not in a bad way. But I mean,
I don't think he was a favorite though.
He wasn't a favorite, but then he had a specific. Everyone had a role. That's the thing. And even his wife said one time, like he was talking about how the world has fallen apart, and she was like, "Yeah, I know," and that's why I'm even more afraid that they need you, because he does have certain skills that really at certain key times he's the only one that can hit a certain target or whatever it might be. But I do think his show especially is really sowing the seeds for other things that we're going to see in the MCU, like Echo. Echo's going to have her own show.
Yeah, she's going to have her own. But I think that's going to continue to tie in with Kingpin, because Kingpin is supposed to be her father when her father passed away. Yeah. So
exactly. So,
and I think I think Daredevil might be brought back as well. So there might be a storyline between Echo.
We're definitely going to speak about Daredevil. Save that because we're going to speak about that when we get into the whole kind of Spider-Man thing. So in terms of kind of the shows that we've already had, right? So let me just kind of remind everyone, for our listeners. So we've had WandaVision, we've had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we've had Loki, now adding Hawkeye. Where does Hawkeye fit in the whole kind of, if you were going to rank them all? For me, I reckon it's kind of, it's good, don't get me wrong, and I totally agree with what Deval's saying. It sets up Kate Bishop, I think, and slowly Hawkeye is going to kind of recede, and kind of, but I think for me, Loki and WandaVision, they're kind of up there at the top at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Same for me.
I think with Hawkeye, they've kind of like, it's not. I don't see it being a repeat of like being watchable after this, basically, unless it becomes another Christmas period, because they've set it too close to Christmas. So I think in terms of all the others like Loki and WandaVision, you could rewatch those, but this one just seems like very niche.
Of the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
Absolutely. And I think that the impact that Loki and WandaVision had was kind of like immediate. So, for example, they kind of announced that they were going to make a Loki season part 2. That just shows you, right?
Yeah.
Like, that this was kind of like really interesting. WandaVision, they're going to do the Agatha Harkness spin-off. So there's going to be that whole thing. So we'll wait and see if Kate Bishop gets her own thing or whether she gets a movie. And like Deval was saying about the Young Avengers. But for folks who haven't seen Hawkeye, go check it out. It's on Disney Plus. Remember, you can win that prize and you could be watching it. And I think we're going to leave it there for new on streaming. There's loads of other stuff that's out on streaming. And at some point, we are definitely going to be speaking about that. But we are conscious of time. And I know that Abi and Emmanuel are busy people. and they're going to be doing loads of other stuff. So we want to kind of, keep it all fresh for them as well. So let's move on to new trailers. And this one, guys, I don't know if Deval put this one up there, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see this, but this trailer is absolutely mad.
Isn't it?
Deval, just kind of like speak about this trailer. I was like, what is this thing? This is just like, sounds really crazy. But yeah, man, take it away. Let our listeners know exactly what this trailer is.
Yeah, this is called, even the title always confuses me. It's called Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah.
And this is an A24 film, so need I say more?
Straight
A24,
away.
say no more. But this is just stars Michelle Yeoh, who we've seen all over the place since Crouching Tiger. We saw her in Shang-Chi recently. Really accomplished actress, even Star Trek Discovery. And it seems like a regular sort of, I don't know, family type drama situation. But then you realize, well, they show you basically straight away that this is more than what meets the eye. This is multiversal. There's some sort of multiversal situation happening, which means that she is thrown into lots of different multiverses, basically. And we get to see different versions of her trying to deal with different situations. And it's crazy. I think they even show like an animated version of her, which makes me think of like, Kill Bill, when you get that little cartoon bit.
Yeah.
But this looks like a really original, crazy, wacky, scientific, family touching film that is just so different to everything I've seen before. And just, I put it on here because it's timely with, Spider-Man and multiversal stuff and whatever. But this is coming out, by the way, next year. I think it's next year, spring. So maybe March, April time. But you know what? This looks like it's going to be one of the most original films in a long time.
Yeah.
So I definitely ask you, check out Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Even the title. Think of it. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I mean...
There's one word I can think of. Chaos.
Absolutely. And it's a great trailer. It's a great trailer that fits in, obviously, the main movie that we're going to be speaking about. But I mean, I totally agree with what Deval was saying. It starts off, what was that Korean movie that won the Oscar? What was it? Parasite. It gives you those, that kind of a vibe, like an Asian family, and they're kind of like a dinner or something, and then Michelle Yeoh, she kind of gets these jolts, like she kind of has memories of past lives, and then the trailer shows all these different past lives, like going back from like the 1600s, like to obviously modern day and everything. So she's got some sort of power. She's able to go, cut through all these different multiverses, and it's her finding herself type of thing. So I recommend you definitely watch it. It's from the studio that brought us Midsommar, Hereditary, Lamb, which I spoke about on last week's episode. A24, they're a great studio, so go check it out if you haven't already seen it. So that's what we've got for trailers. And on to Anniversary Corner. Very apt. This is 2006. This is X-Men: The Last Stand. And yeah, for me, the weakest one of the link.
Yeah, the weakest one. I mean, I'll be honest. I only put it on here because it fit in with the time frame of 2006. What's that? 15 years ago. But this film was kind of dry. I mean, Juggernaut, Vinnie Jones. It just, I don't know. This film, the bridge scene, everything just seemed wrong with this film.
Yeah.
It didn't do. It was a bad end of a trilogy for me. I don't know. Maybe we should just move on.
No, absolutely. I mean, what are your, like, Abby, what are your memories of watching this in cinema or whenever you watched it? Like, what did you guys remember of it?
I mean, I remember bits and pieces. I mean, I think it's the one where we get to see Archangel, Warren Worthington, right? And I was like, oh, wow, I get to see him. But then he did, that story was messed up. It's like a lot of things were touched on that were good, but all executed badly. Even Phoenix, it's just a hot mess. But yeah, it's good to just let's do away with that. And okay,
I think
what's next?
It was the one where Multiple Man was in it. Isn't it? Yeah. I thought it was they were trying to use that. They were trying to basically just dump loads of X-Men characters or mutants in hope that there could be some sort of spin-off, because I think around about that time they were talking about Jubilee getting getting her
okay.
own movie or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
What a shame.
What exactly? What a shame. But then at least we got kind of Logan out of it at the end, and like some of those other good movies. So listen, look, that is Anniversary Corner for you. If you haven't seen X-Men, you can catch it on Disney Plus. Again, Disney Plus. You can win the prize, and you can watch kind of all this sort of stuff. But listen, it leads us nicely onto our film review, the main movie, the big movie of December, and this is Spider-Man: No Way Home. This is the kind of the third part in the trilogy, so directed by John Watts. And this movie takes place immediately after the second one, where Peter Parker's Spider-Man's identity has been revealed by Mysterio. At the end of that second movie, Spider-Man's up on somewhere, and there's a big screen in New York, and then J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, exactly. He gets rumbled, basically. He gets revealed, and then he touches his head, and he's like, oh my gosh. So literally, the third movie just takes place after all that. And we're basically, as the audience, we're thrown right into it, like straight away. As soon as the movie starts, we're thrown into it. And did you guys notice they did an Avengers Infinity War? Do you remember at the beginning of Infinity War where you hear kind of the credits are the Marvel logo is, and then you hear them speaking in the background? They did that same thing with this one, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like straight up, what did you make of the whole kind of like beginning part of the movie?
So do we need to do a spoiler like disclaimer again? Or
Oh yeah, man, let's do
in?
this. This is
I'm raring to go.
This is like big time. We're going to be speaking about the kind of movie right the way through it, characters and story and plot lines and who's in it, who's not in it. So if you haven't seen the movie, please stop right now and come back to this episode when you've seen the movie. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
What did you guys? First of all, what did you guys make of it?
I'll just start saying I've seen it 3 times now. First time I saw it, and the cinema was packed. I've not seen a packed cinema since Infinity War Endgame. The audience was the best audience to see it with as well. They reacted to all the key moments in the film with applause. It was like an experience. This film is rated. This is the highest rated Marvel film of all time. 9.1 on IMDb. 9.
Wow.
Comic book movies don't get that. I think The Dark Knight might be the closest rated of.
The way you say that, I think Infinity War did get 9.1 to begin with. I mean, I think some of them do get it goes down after a while, but yeah.
We'll see how this one
after what, the first 2 weeks, I think. But
yeah, usually when more people see it, they kind of just ratings change. But yeah, this one so far, everyone I know that's seen it, they have loved this film. I mean, I'll just sort of quickly talk about it overall, really, just quickly, because I know there's lots to say. But I think for me, John Watts directed the first film, second film, and this one, and it's given me more confidence that when he directs Fantastic Four, he's going to do a great job. But for me, it just goes to show the cast and crew have gotten to know each other really, really well over the years. I mean, think about it. 2017 was the first Spider-Man film. And
especially Tom Holland and Zendaya, yeah?
Exactly. And then now they're dating, isn't it?
Talk about getting to know each other really well.
Even Crocodile, what's his name? Lizard Man says, that can't be his girlfriend. That's like a play on words, because people in real life are probably saying, that can't be his girlfriend.
How do they get together? Yeah.
Exactly. But no, I mean, that's why, you know what? Sony know their value. They know their worth. That's why they didn't sell to Marvel, to Disney, because they know Spider-Man is a hot property.
Bankable. Yeah.
Exactly. Very bankable. But yeah, for me, just quickly, I think Tom Holland does a great job. Zendaya, Jacob Batalon. And for me, the villains, what's his name? Hobgoblin.
Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe really stood out as a villain. His acting just so good. He made me scared. Even there's a moment in the movie where Spider-Man has his spidey sense, and he goes kind of quiet. And
and he's trying to work it out. Where's the danger? Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, overall, I just can't say enough about it. It's a really enjoyable movie. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of holes here and there, but you know, who's perfect? But yeah, I don't know. You guys can say your piece as well.
For me, I went along with
Are you gonna give a bit of an overview of the film?
Yeah, I was going to say let's speak about the
Yeah.
plot. Let's do a bit of plot. Give a bit of plot details away.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess at the beginning, like you mentioned, it sort of finished off just after Far From Home. Everyone's found out about Spider-Man's true identity being Peter Parker. Literally, it's funny actually because they do it right after. Like, there's no time difference.
Yeah,
at all.
there's no time. Yeah,
you could watch both films back to back, and it's one movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
What I liked about it was, oh yeah, go on. Sorry.
Okay. So and then I guess I don't know. Spider-Man, obviously, that's ruined everything for him, and not just for him, but the people that he loves. Because in the comics, in the cartoons, the people that know who Spider-Man is, they're a threat because the villains will always go for them. So I guess that's his main concern, isn't it? So obviously, it comes to a stage where they're going on to university as well, and I guess So because Homecoming was him being in, I don't know what the university, sorry, the school.
Freshman year. This is senior, is it?
I don't know how that works, but anyway, basically, in this film, they're going to all apply for university, and they're all going to go to MIT because they're mad smart.
Yeah.
MIT is like that's university to go to before you go to study in space and whatever. But they all didn't get through, and Spider-Man, it's because of Spider-Man's identity, basically.
They're all connected,
they all exactly because they all know Spider-Man. But a couple of beats before that, actually, Spider-Man gets arrested because of who he is and so on. And there's a moment where they're in the police station, because in the trailers, in the police station, you think, okay, this is where he's going to need a lawyer, because they all need a lawyer when you're in the police station. But it wasn't even at that moment. So they kind of sold us on that. It's that when he is at home and he's speaking to Aunt May and Happy, that our man just shows up out of nowhere. And who is that man?
Man, Daredevil himself. And his glasses and everything, and so basically, remember on last week's episode we kind of mentioned that Kevin Feige, he was like, listen, Charlie Cox was confirmed for the MCU, so he's gonna be Daredevil going forward, and this kind of sets up that for future programs or TV shows or movies or whatever. So that's great. So that connects obviously those Disney Netflix shows to the MCU now. So we've got that. We've got Kingpin in Hawkeye. That's connected that all together.
Oh, and, you know what I just thought just now? You know when that scene where Daredevil said to Happy, "Oh, you're going to need a really good lawyer."
Yeah.
And I just thought just now, She-Hulk. Maybe that might be an in for She-Hulk.
True.
Because
true. Yeah.
That could connect it all.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, totally. That all connects it all. Yeah. But this is great and this is kind of like great fan service for us because, we're getting to see Daredevil in the MCU. And there's a bit in there where someone throws a brick through the window and he just uses his senses and he just catches the brick. And it's like, they're like,
how did you do that?
How did you do that? He goes, I'm a very good lawyer and everything. So we've got to see that. So that was a great little Easter egg. So for fans of Daredevil, fans of the Netflix show, you're going to see obviously Matt Murdock again, somewhere along the line. So Deval said, just picking up on this, they're having issues with getting into university. And then Peter Parker, he wants to do something about it. So Abby, what does he go and do? What's the big thing that Peter Parker does?
So yeah, this is no real spoiler because you see it in the trailer, but he approaches, he remembers his mate, Doctor Strange or Stephen, as he's allowed to call him. But yeah, so I mean, who wouldn't want to use their mate with special powers if they could unwind the disaster? So that's seems like a good idea. And there's something weird that happened in the trailer. I don't know if you guys caught this, but the trailer shows a slightly different reaction from Wong. It's what happens in the film isn't what we see in the trailer, which it's really it's a bit odd. But anyway, they go and do the actual spell to undo this whole Peter Parker's identity, and unfortunately, it doesn't go according to plan. And I think that's what sets up the rest of what happens in the film. In that,
just like a teenager. He didn't really think it through. He just
Yeah, and it's a shame because if he'd just been quiet and just allowed Doctor Strange to do the spell, it would have been fine. But you know, I think. But here's the thing I really like, and I was talking to another friend about this. We keep forgetting that Peter Parker's just a kid, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing these things like, oh no, actually, don't do that. Oh, no, try and do this, and that's what a kid would do, right?
Yeah.
But because he's got such responsibility and he's got these powers, you just think, what's he doing? Like, come on, man up, or just be mature. But he is a kid. And there's lots of moments. There's lots of moments throughout the film where you get to see that he makes some really silly decisions about stuff, but he's a kid. You know?
There's a bit in the movie where they kind of have like a bit of a tussle, like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and I thought it was brilliant, by the way. And Doctor Strange, he pushes out his astral, he does the whole astral thing,
astral projection,
and the astral projection thing. And Spider-Man was still able to control his body. Like, how's that? How does he even do that? Because even Doctor Strange is like, oh, how are you able to do that? You're not supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah,
I love that moment. That moment just made you. If you didn't respect Spider-Man before, now you
powers.
Spider-Man's a lot more capable than just being a kid in a Spidey suit. He's a lot more capable, and you see the little Spidey sense around his head. Kind of looks translucent, but
like heat wave.
That's reacting to it.
Yeah.
Even the whole spell part. That's from the comics. There was I don't know who was the writer, but this whole situation has happened in the comics where Spider-Man went to Doctor Strange to try and get everyone to forget who he was, because obviously people knew who he was, and he eventually goes to Mephisto. Mephisto is the one that does it, and obviously it goes wrong and stuff like that. But it's called, I think, One Last Day. I think the comic is run. But
there's another one. There's another one. Yeah, there's another one called One Moment in Time where I think Aunt May in the comics, she dies and he wants to reverse that. Then it's all connected. So they've kind of they've kind of adapted those comics to kind of fit it in, for the movie screens and everything. So what Abby was saying was that he goes to Doctor Strange, he asks for help, the spell goes wrong, and then that opens up this kind of rift in the multiverse, and then people start coming through. And the first person to come through is Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
So there's kind of like a big fight scene, like on the bridge somewhere, and so they de-aged, Alfred Molina, who plays Doc Ock and everything. But yeah, it was great to see him again in this as well. He's still a great actor. I thought, he's obviously a great villain as well. But that has a little battle with him, and then Peter Parker's been tasked to bring all these villains kind of like into this dungeon area where Doctor Strange can like hold him in a cell type of thing, and
that's good. That's off. When because what was the scene where he goes in and Doctor Strange takes him to like a space where he can speak to Peter Parker, but what was the villain
the mirror dimension?
No, it was before the mirror dimension. When he basically speaks to Peter and he says, "You're good." What's happened is that when you messed up my spell, it's basically brought all of these everyone else from all of these other dimensions. He's speaking with him in like another dimension, isn't he? Where it's
okay. Because I thought that was in that dungeon bit. Remember where he had that kind of he had those little cells.
That's it, the dungeon. But he didn't. But in that bit, you couldn't see the rest of the dungeon though.
Oh shit! I mean, because he's seen it 3 times.
You couldn't see.
He doesn't know what's going on.
You couldn't see the observation. Where's Zendaya and Thingy were observing
Ned.
From the.
I think we can assume it's just a different part of the dungeon, the same dungeon.
Maybe in a different part, And then he goes off. So Pete goes off, and then we see Electro. So, what did you make of the kind of Electro 2.0, man? He's been upgraded. He's like, man, Jamie Foxx, man. He's like, he brings swagger to the role. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, he's funny. He's not the nerdy guy. It's Max Dillon, from Amazing Spider-Man
#2.
Though,
that this could be a different multiverse Electro that is from a different place, not the same one that we saw. Some people are saying that. Who knows? But this
But
one was funny.
you know what dispels that though, Devout, is that Jamie Foxx Electro recognised Connors, right? So there was a familiarity. So they did definitely come from the same universe. Like,
But then there'll be Connors there as well. There'll be Connors everywhere.
Okay, yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, who knows?
Sure.
I mean, also, some people are saying that he never actually saw Peter Parker's face. Remember, he said, "I thought you were black."
Yes.
So in the previous movie, he actually, I think some people are saying that he eventually went to join, the Sinister Six eventually in another, if it is the other multiversal one, and in that while he was, with them, he knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but he never actually saw his face, because if he's seen his face, he wouldn't say, "I thought he was black."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So. But yeah, it's funny. Even when he's standing naked in the woods, he's like, "Oh, you're not gonna say anything. Like I'm not here butt naked." I mean,
butt
little
naked.
things that he said was funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
really funny things.
I like the I don't know whether anyone else noticed it, but when we saw Jamie Foxx's character, the costume that's in the comic is very corny with the electric thingy.
Yeah.
There's one scene where it's his face, but you see the electric like.
It's every time he does a charge. Like it happens every time he does a discharge.
They've done it well, where it's like they're taking it from the comic, but it's not his costume, but you can still I like that bit.
Yeah, that
I
was
like
really
what
good.
they've done.
I mean, out of all those villains, I mean, the most menacing definitely has got to be Goblin. Like,
see, you say that. I would normally agree, but Doc Ock in the beginning was scary. Like the way he was just snapping and just going, I'm like, don't let that guy out. He's gonna kill everyone. I feel like, he seemed mad. And when they calmed him down,
but it made sense.
It
made sense because he was saying when Spider-Man was trying to repair him, he said that it was the tentacles that was making him that way.
Yeah. And when he's in the cell, Doc Ock, he loses his shit out. And, like, you can see the anger there. But listen, the reason why I say about Goblin is because there's a fight scene between Peter Parker in the building. So he
that fight.
It's
about that face. There you go. That face. When the Goblin does that was it. That was scary. That was scary.
I forgot he's so strong because in Spider-Man, he takes a serum, and that serum is supposed to make people mad, strong, and also. I forgot how strong he was because he beat Spider-Man. He
takes him through the walls. He takes him through the ground, and then Peter. Don't forget, Peter Parker is strong. This guy can punch, man.
Yeah.
And he's punching him, and he's just laughing at him.
He's going through multiple. I'm looking at.
There's an article that's in the first Spider-Man film. It's like one of the things they say is that is of all the films, that's the one that Spider-Man takes the biggest beating from any villain, right? It's Green Goblin versus Spider-Man in the Tobey Maguire. And now, after seeing this latest Spider-Man, I'm like, this is a good close. Like, this is Green Goblin batters him, like proper batter.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a great fight scene. And I'm like, if you when you do obviously see it, folks, you're gonna enjoy that one. And then look, so things have gone to shit basically for Peter Parker, and the big reveal over here is that Aunt May, she she dies, and basically to prove how evil this Goblin is, man, his wing thing, his glider thing, literally just basically crashes into it, and that is how he died in the Tobey Maguire one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I shouldn't be happy, but you know what? She was annoying me.
What? No, come on, Emmanuel, what are you saying?
Marisa Tomei's great. I love it.
And Aunt May annoyed me. I was like, why are you confusing this boy? Like, don't, like, these are villains, yeah. Just kick them back into their dimension or what universe. Yeah. Don't try and give Peter Parker, make them good. Like, it's a problem on top of a problem. Like, you're making it worse. Oh, mate, just leave it.
You got a point there, because I do feel like she didn't help in terms of the decision about
how powerful they are.
Yeah, totally underestimation of everything.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And she gives him that line. She's like, "Oh, this is what we do." And then I'm like, "Well, hang on, like they've got superpowers. Like, you know, this is going to be some serious shit over it." So she gets dealt with, and then this kind of leads, you know, Peter Parker on this kind of like, you know, shit, you know, what am I doing and everything like that. And then the last half an hour of the movie is, it's just basically, for me anyway, it's basically movie magic. This is why
it's
we
crazy.
go to the movies to watch kind of things like this happen. So there's a scene in the movie where Ned and Zendaya, Ned and MJ, they're at Ned's place and they're like, shit, what we're going to do? We can't find Peter Parker. We don't know where he is. And Ned has got hold of Doctor Strange's ring. His ring. And he starts pissing about, and you know, you start seeing the sparks and
He
everything.
does it by accident, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And Emily's like,
you can just see him. And
Yeah.
But you can just see him again.
it's so brilliant. And then so MJ said to him, "Can you do that again?" And he's like, "Okay, show me Peter Parker." And then we see Peter Parker. He's in some dark alleyway. He's looking around, and then all of a sudden he comes through.
Did you guys know what was going to happen when you saw that? Be honest. Did you know what we were going to get?
I had a feeling.
Taller. He seemed quite tall, so I thought it was Garfield.
Okay.
I thought, this
Listen,
looks quite tall.
But let me just say this: as soon as that moment happened, everyone in the audience went ballistic. They went mad in my screening, and everyone was clapping, everyone was whooping, they were doing everything. And then it was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He ends up in this, obviously, you know, in this kind of universe, and that was amazing. That was brilliant.
He's a good Spider-Man. You know, his acting is actually really good. He's actually like comical. He can get deep into seriousness as well. I think on the range-wise, he might have the best range. I don't know. You know?
I don't know. Tobey Maguire. I don't know.
Tobey Maguire, nah, he's just
something. I actually watching Andrew Garfield in this movie, I thought, actually, you know what? He wasn't a bad Spider-Man. He does nervous. No, what does he do? He does Tom Holland does kind of like nerdy and awkward, and Andrew Garfield does nervous. He's kind of like a bit kind of like shyish, and then Tobey Maguire is I don't know, kind of like slapsticky type of a thing. Like, you know, he does that type of thing.
Do you know there was a survey, and this is what they broke it down. They said that Tobey Maguire, the best Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man was so-so. Andrew Garfield, best Spider-Man, but his Peter Parker was too cool for school. Like, he's, you know, skateboarding. He wasn't like that. He was too cool as Peter Parker. But Tom Holland is kind of the best, like all around, kind of average, both sides. Yeah. Just
I think
okay all round.
He brings the kids part of it for me. The kid part and the dilemma. You know, like, oh my god, like you know, the erratic sort of behavior that kids like, especially when it came to the Doctor Strange and making. You know, he went to Doctor Strange. And then that's a solution, but he didn't really think it through. Like Abby said, like he brings that kid part of it where he's thought of what he thinks the solution is, but then when, like Doctor Strange being the adult, says these are the terms of the contract, he then has to rethink, and he's like, oh, but
it's true. And then obviously then they pull in, so Ned and MJ, they pull in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and again people lost their shit with that one as well, and that was really, really crazy. And he just kind of strolls in, he's like, hey guys, like, you know, he's just so cool, so like nonchalant.
You know, it's funny, they refer to him as a youth pastor, and everyone laughed. It's like, he looks, you know, he's like the older, younger, that was quite funny.
Your costume, you're going to be looking like a youth pastor.
Exactly. So there's so you know, so we get to see the three Spider-Men from different universes, and they're teaming up, and they make the serums, and they kind of like, you know, they're able to kind of, you know, progress the story forward. There's another movie magic moment where they're on the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. And they start having this conversation about, hey, like, you know, what's your craziest villain that you've had? And Tom Holland's like, I went to space, and Tobey Maguire says, I had to fight an alien as well, and there's all this shit going on. I tell you what,
I'm glad they stopped the conversation where it was, because they were losing me after that.
I love that bit.
What? Emmanuel, how can you say that? That was beautiful. That
you know what?
Everything they were saying.
No, I
it's
felt
hard to please Emmanuel.
it was.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It was it was good. I did enjoy the moment, but but where they stopped it, where Tom Holland goes, "Oh, I think we should be expecting them soon." I thought, great, thank you, because if you had carried on that conversation, what am I sitting here for? Like, you're supposed to be shooting at her.
I see where you're coming from, Emmanuel, but I feel like like when else will we ever get an opportunity to hear them all talking? Yeah.
No, I get it. Those parts that they did, when they were in awe about what is it, Tobey Maguire, he doesn't need the cartridges. That was great. Like, and the other bits that they mentioned, those were really good. But I was just like, don't like it was nice and sweet where they actually left it,
but don't overdo it.
Yeah, didn't overdo it.
When Tobey Maguire got his back cracked, remember?
Yeah.
In
He
Spider-Man,
complained about his back.
Yeah, he complained about his back, and also I think when he was filming, was that Seahorse or what's that film called?
Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit.
That's the Seahorse. He hurt his back on that, and I think that affected him. I think on the third Spider-Man film or something.
The second one.
Spider-Man second one. So like they put that into it. So it's like they kind of weaved in a lot of fan.
I didn't know that.
Into it. So it's quite good how they did it. So I did appreciate it a bit more.
It was really good, and I think the fans needed that, but I think the Spider-Men needed that. The characters actually needed that, where they interact with each other. Because imagine that you've been pulled into a new universe, and then you got to have this moment they shared. So the Spider-Men shared this kind of brotherly love, and I think Andrew Garfield actually says, he goes, I always wanted a brother, like I always wanted a brother, type of thing like that. So they had that kind of moment. So so they go on.
I thought it was also smart them doing that, because those who hadn't watched the previous ones now have a reason to go back and watch the other.
It's funny you say that, Emmanuel, because I actually refused to see the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm Tobey Maguire. Hands down, I'll put my hands up for that. And I've just said, I'm not watching. It was too close for me. Andrew Garfield, So I never watched Amazing Spider-Man. But when there was whispers that the different Spider-Man there'll be a multiverse, I was forced to watch it. So I only watched the Amazing Spider-Man recently with Jamie Foxx. I never watched that one. And so what you just said there, Emmanuel, it's almost like they did a really clever thing. If you were like me, you just didn't watch the Andrew Garfield one. Now you had to watch it. So now it's like they just brought everything together. They connected everything in such a way that just made it amazing. Like you said, Lamar, movie magic. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that's done that. But it's just really nice.
I think what kind of tops it, what is kind of similar to me is when Captain America wielding Mjolnir. That for me, that is kind of like similar moment, like just kind of that for the fans and everything. So this was great seeing these three. They're riffing off of each other. That was really good. And then they have this big battle scene. We get the new Statue of Liberty with Captain America's shield. Not sure if you noticed that. That was really good. And
there was another thing about it as well. You see when they were actually in the whole battle, I felt like, when did the Spider-Man have a timeout with the villains? Let's do a team talk on the scaffolding. And then they went back into action again. It was nice, but again, it was like it was all in amongst the chaos, and it was like, let's do a huddle. The villains time out. You saw
Did anyone else find it hard to follow which Spider-Man was which?
Yeah, it was to do a double take.
No, because Tom Holland had the gold spider.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield had the spider suit with a distinct white sort of.
So you were able to follow it from the first time. First time you. Oh wow.
Subtle differences, and the spider logo as well was different on each of them.
Yeah. I was more. I'll be honest with you. With that final battle scene, I was. You know what? I was the quicker they got rid of Sandman and the Lizard, the better for me, because those were kind of like, I was like, I want to see how they deal with Goblin, and so that was the kind of big thing.
They weren't in it. I don't remember. They weren't in it. Like, they used stock footage and they just recycled them because they weren't actually in this. Like, they weren't in it.
What do you mean?
What?
The Lizard,
Hayden Christensen and
whatever his name is.
Yeah, but their voice. Their voices.
They weren't in it. Yeah, so they used recycled footage and stuff.
Damn. Because
Didn't
you
know
don't
that.
actually hear you.
Them
Yeah,
as their
'cause-
face. I mean, their live action persona were
Yeah.
not in the film.
Okay.
yeah.
Sandman as well.
Yeah, so they kind of they deal with a lizard and Sandman, and they're kind of out of it. And then, what did you think about this whole thing where obviously Tom Holland has the opportunity to kill Goblin, he doesn't, and you just knew. I kind of knew that you knew this was going to happen, right? So, so Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, he never says anything, which was really good. He kind of looks at him and he says, like, "Listen, look, you don't want to do this." But was kind of expecting him to get stabbed, right? You knew that was going to happen.
Something's gonna happen.
He knew it was going to happen. It's like, how long was he standing there? For like an eternity. I'm like, come on, man. You done you know the Green Goblin more than anyone else. You should know
Exactly.
what's coming.
You
I
knew
don't-
it was coming.
But I had a flashback of like Star Wars. What was the where Thingy loses his limbs?
Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin. He loses his limbs. There's the lava scene and
Yeah, the
the
third one.
bell. Yeah, when Spider-Man was beating up Green Goblin, for some reason I had a flashback to that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically doesn't. So big spoiler, he doesn't kill Goblin, but Goblin gets kind of saved, and they inject him with a serum, so he's kind of become normal. So the whole idea was that for Peter Parker, his thing was that he could save these villains, and that they can then go back to their universe, and then they can not be killed by their Spider-Man, in those universes type of thing. So mission complete. We see Doctor Strange appear at the end of that one as well, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, what have you done?" But
When Doctor
then-
Strange appeared, I was just like, "Yeah, agree with Doctor Strange. Just send them back. They're villains.
Just send them back.
Yeah,
He's no nonsense.
It's their fate."
To me, there was a moment where I thought, "What is Peter Parker doing? This is Doctor Strange. The disrespect! Oh my gosh! Listen to the man. He knows what he's talking about." Like,
Have you noticed that Doctor Strange? He kind of functions like as a scientist because he's obviously a man.
Yeah.
He's a man of medicine. So he looks at the scientific way of like, no,
No
this is
emotion.
what it should be. And Peter
Yeah.
Parker's more from his heart. Like,
Yeah.
he kind of follows his heart and everything like that, and that's what makes him Peter Parker. So that all happens, and all I got to say is just on the ending of that, I thought it was a great kind of ending to Andrew Garfield, just to see kind of like him do that, and Tobey Maguire. That was a great little send off. Do you guys think now that they could ever come back for another appearance?
No,
They should, and this is like
I think this was it. This was this was it's a job well done sort of thing. Yeah,
but where do you think it's going to go from here? Like, I feel like this has reached the pinnacle. How could it be any better in the next film?
How can they top this?
Different. He's going to be more of an adult. He's going to have more responsibilities, and he's going to be, not with his friends as he used to be. So, yeah, this is more like the adults. Peter Parker.
What I'm saying is that where can it go?
I think this is
seen the best of what it could possibly be.
I think this is going to go more in the direction of what we're seeing with the Echo, characters in this series that we've got coming out, where it will be like him and Daredevil, or him and maybe
Like a team up, basically.
Deadpool. Like where where it'll be new characters that we're seeing in the more of the present stuff, where Spider-Man has interacted with them in the comics or teamed up with them. So again, it's still a bit floozy. It's not really like there's not a definite, but for me, it's like it's a call to an end of
Totally.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and
and obviously I'm conscious of time over here because I know, but I do want to kind of mention this. Let's speak about these end credit scenes. So the mid credit scene. Now you mentioned Abby? You said where could they go with this? So crucially, we see Tom Hardy's Venom in this. So he's kind of whilst when that whole spell thing was cut. When they did that whole spell thing. So Venom gets sucked into this universe.
Yeah.
And then in the end, in that mid-credit scene, he's talking about obviously, you know, Thanos. He's talking about Iron Man, because remember the barman from Ted Lasso. He's kind of like, you know, speaking to him, and he says, yeah, you know, there's a Thanos, there's a Iron Man, and like there's a Hulk.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and he says, oh, I better go to New York and I better meet this Spider-Man guy. But then when Doctor Strange finishes off that spell, then Venom gets taken back to his universe, but a bit of his symbiote gets left behind. So what they're saying is that in the next trilogy that we're going to see, you know, with Tom Holland in it, that there is going to be a Venom in that universe, because his symbiote was left in that universe.
Just not Tom Hardy, so it could go to anyone. In the comics, it's Flash Thompson,
I think, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but remember as well in the comics that all the symbiotes are all like one hive mind, aren't they?
The hive.
Like from all the different dimensions, they're all connected still.
Yeah, that's why Eddie Brock got sucked in, because he had another symbiote from another hive, or from the other part of the hive, or wherever it might be, had knowledge of Peter Parker, not actual, you know, Tom Hardy's character. So that's why he got sucked in. But yeah, I don't know. I think it should be okay at some point to bring Venom into it. Maybe not straight away, but you know, in some sort of part. But yeah, I'm just more interested to see what happens with Spider-Man as a character, how he develops into this, you know, sad, lonely Spider-Man or Peter Parker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then obviously
the second
bit, man. So
trailer.
this is a proper. This is obviously you have to stay. Obviously from now you know you got to stay at the end, right the way till the end. So this is a proper trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We get to see so many things.
Can't wait for that.
Oh man, just
can't
like,
wait for it. I think they showed a bit too much, but I can't wait for the film. I know we've been speaking about it for a long time.
It was an end trailer.
And it's just, they showed us a lot. They showed us, someone said it wasn't Shuma Garaf. They said it was
another one,
character, some sort of octopus character, but it looked like Shuma Garaf, but with, you know, with one eye, whatever. But it looks like from the Marvel What If, they're really giving us a part of that, because we're getting the dark Doctor Strange. It seems like he could be the actual villain. He could be the main villain, it looks like. So it looks like he's gone to go and get Scarlet Witch and America Chavez, who can open up portals to different multiverses at will. So it looks like he needs their help to deal with himself, which is going to be crazy. This is going to be a film.
Yeah, exactly. And remember Morden. Is it Mordo or Morden? I can't remember.
Baron Mordo. Yeah,
Baron Mordo. He's like, look, you've been messing around with the multiverse, and the biggest danger to the universe is you, Doctor Strange. So, this guy, man, he's on another level now. He's just like basically after Doctor Strange.
So that means he's going to be dealing with two villains then in Multiverse of Madness.
Looks like it.
Three could be, because there'll be Shuma Grath, there'll be Mordo, and then there'll be the evil Doctor Strange.
Strange Supreme.
Strange Supreme.
No, it's not.
Oh man, guys! So where do you rank this in your list of your canon of Marvel movies?
Spider-Man. It's in my top 5 now. You know, it's broken into my top 5. Yeah. So I think it's really got. I'll see it again and at some point, but I really like it. I can't really cuss it. Really,
it's hard to fault it. I mean, when you can't really fault it. There's no easy faults with this film. It's just lends itself to being really good by all by itself. But yeah, it's definitely high up. Definitely top 5 for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do want to say, I just want to add this little bit, because I don't want us to forget this fact. If not for Tom Holland brokering the deal between Sony and Marvel, we would never have had this. Right? We need to give him the credit where credit's due, because he almost just went through the cracks, and we would never have had this opportunity to experience this film.
True.
And he played a significant part.
You know, there was this whole talk about what was Tom Holland going to do after the end of this, this movie, and then it looks like as if we're going to get another, 3 more movies. He's kind of like, working on another deal. But a part of me was like, if he didn't do more Spider-Man movies, we would still have Miles Morales, and I think it would have been still great to have like the film version of Miles Morales come on there.
Yeah.
And I know, like, you know, people will be like, oh, but really, do we need another Miles Morales? Because, you know, they're doing Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. But I still reckon there's still legs, you know, this,
He'll pop up.
you know,
He'll pop up at
pun
some
intended.
point. Trust me, Jamie Foxx said it. There's got to be a Black Spider-Man out there somewhere.
Yeah.
He's going to pop up. Maybe not have his own film yet, but he'll pop up. You watch.
Yeah, but we've already seen his uncle in Homecoming,
exactly.
so
Yes.
it will happen, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it will happen. But listen, look, guys, we've run out of time. It's been great talking about this. And what, you know, the next big one is going to be what, May now? Is it, Deval?
Matrix.
Sorry.
For Marvel, yeah.
For Marvel.
Well, Marvel's going to be a big one. Yeah, you're right. May, Doctor Strange. But our next movie next week is going to be Matrix. Resurrections. Yep.
It's landing on Boxing Day, I think.
No, the 22nd for us.
Yeah, for Mark.
Jesus. Oh,
But also
God.
HBO Max is coming out the same day, and HBO Max or the day after, and HBO Max, so you can get that as well.
Okay, yeah, no, I've got to watch that. I've got to watch that pretty soon. But listen, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on this. Abby, great to have you on the show. Great
Pleasure.
listening to your thoughts on that, and obviously Emmanuel. We won't obviously keep you waiting, too long next time. But please join us again, in the new year. Maybe Abby for Multiverse of Madness. Maybe join us again for that one in May. Who knows?
Yeah.
And obviously for everyone who's listening out there, keep it locked with the Flixters. We've got more movies, more movie news, more trailers, and more hidden gems that we want to throw at you. So thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.